Hello, everyone, and welcome to From Surviving to Thriving, where we don't just talk about the pretty fun stuff of business, we talk about the in between. We talk about those challenges and how you deal with those. I'm your host. My name is Robin Carr, an award-winning international motivational speaker, author, and mindset coach. And today I am so excited to have with me John Prather. So John is the founder of John Prather Inc., where he is a networking and business coach. He's been doing this for almost a decade. So John, thank you so much for being here with us today. And just to kind of kick us off, what inspired you to get started with this business and to offer these services?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Robin, for the invite. Looking forward to our conversation. So, yeah, for me, what really got me inspired to start my business journey was definitely, I would say, graduating from college and kind of seeing what the world was like outside of, sort of the confined space of going to school, kind of for that, I guess, what was it, 18 to 20 years or so. So I was a background. I played college football and then went on to play professionally for about a year. So during that year gap, I was looking for ways to make extra income. I knew that eventually I was going to go into my career of engineering. But during that middle ground, while playing football, I couldn't hold down a full-time job. So business kind of got thrown into my lap. I had a couple of friends in college that had done side hustles and online e-commerce businesses. So when a friend of mine reached out to me right as I graduated about, starting a network marketing business online, it was really intriguing to me. So really just the idea of having a side hustle income, while I could still pursue my main focus, which was football at the time, and then transition to my career in engineering, was really the catalyst, I would say, for me to start my journey in entrepreneurship.
Absolutely love that. And I love that you said it's a side hustle, but now you're still continuing with that. Like now you do both, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I still work full time, do my business full time, and the goal is within the next couple of years to scale out of working full time to be a full time entrepreneur. So that's the goal. So we're working towards that.
Can I just say for a second that that's impressive? Because when I have like insane days, I cannot imagine still having my full-time job too. So I'm super proud of you for whatever that's worth.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. So now that you are doing both and thinking just about your entrepreneur world, not necessarily about the engineer world. So what excites you about that? Like what gives you that drive to want to continue with this side hustle? I know you're working for that to be your primary, but is there something else?
Yeah, I guess there's a couple of things. I think when I first started in business with network marketing and now business coaching and doing both, I think the biggest appeal to me at first was really just money. I wanted to make some extra income. I wanted to potentially not have to work, kind of the typical young 20s. Oh, I'm going to retire, in a year or two. And, you just don't have the knowledge of knowing kind of the runway to actually becoming a full-time entrepreneur. So initially, I would say 100% was definitely money motivated. Just wanted to make extra income, wanted to scale my income. As I started, and I think specifically network marketing and now business coaching, kind of working those both. I think the biggest appeal to me now is money, obviously, but it's also impacting other people's lives. Because I realized as I was in my journey that you can't do everything on your own. Coming from a football background, I kind of had that team sports mentality, but still, kind of had that mindset of, I can do everything on my own. As long as I'm willing to put in the work, I can get the results, which is true to some degree. But I do feel like the ability to have something, your goal being bigger than just you, I think is critical. And that's, I feel like the driving force for me now is obviously still financial freedom, still creating the income, but also being able to leave an impact, because it's not just about how much money you make. I know one of my mentors said, the true definition of success isn't how much money you make, but it's, how many people are better off because you lived. So that always really stuck with me. And I feel like that's a huge driving factor for me still today.
I absolutely love that. And I think all of our coaches are talking to each other because I too have been told that. And,
Yep.
when you make that impact, then it's more fulfilling than just the dollars in your pocket. And it's legacy. I do a lot of talking and my book is actually about legacy. And that's huge for the people that you're able to impact. So I absolutely love that.
Yep.
So when you're working with some of these people and you're helping them with their business or with their network marketing or, whatever you're doing for them, what are some of the challenges that you face with them? Like, not that they're facing as your clients, but the ones that you face internally that you're trying to work through, and how do you manage those?
Yeah, I guess I would say kind of like you're a mindset coach. I feel like that very similar along those same lines. I feel like the biggest hurdle is definitely unpacking that mindset and helping people kind of think a little bit bigger. Like the book Mindset by Carol Dweck talks about. Most people are fixed minded, where they kind of can't necessarily see beyond their initial kind of obstacles right in front of them. So really kind of helping people make that transition to a growth mindset. So I would say for me, like you mentioned, is kind of assisting people in that journey. Because again, one thing I realized is, you can't, it's the old saying, you can bring a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. So it's kind of like that, where you're helping them, you're trying to unpack certain things for them, but ultimately they have to take that step. So I feel like earlier on in my business career, I was definitely kind of, I don't want to say rubbed the wrong way, but it was tough kind of seeing people who said that they wanted success, and then they didn't want to go after it kind of the same way that I was, kind of full go, let's kind of burn the boats. So I feel like assisting people in that, but also giving people grace, because not everybody's in the same, you know stage in life as you are. So some people might take longer to get to their desired destination, whether it be, building a, 4 5 6 figure a month business, or just creating extra income outside of their job. Different people have different goals. So I feel like that was the big thing for me, is I thought everybody thought like me. So getting out of that and, being able to help people where they're at and where they want to go, was definitely an initial challenge that I've started to overcome.
That's amazing. And you're absolutely right. So as a mindset coach, like it spills over into everything. It's your business, it's your personal life, it's your, all of the things. So it's very important. And I'm glad that you tap into that too. And I love that you just quoted the burning the boats expression. That's one of my favorites. And I had never heard that before until about a year and a half ago. And it like has stuck with me this whole time. So I love that you and I are even more aligned than I already knew.
Yeah, absolutely.
So in your ideal perfect situation with your clients, when they're working with you and they're like, what does accomplished look like, or what does it look like when you're like, okay, I feel like I have served this person to my fullest best capacity? Like, what are they able to do or understand, or kind of walk me through what that looks like what in a perfect situation, what does that look like for your clients?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, thinking back to a couple that I've worked with over the past few years, I would say it's kind of a two-tier, is in my mind, kind of relating back to myself. Is one aspect of it is kind of the mindset, the belief, being able to overcome. Because I feel like, again, we grow up going to school, elementary, middle, high school, and college, and we're kind of taught that whole employee mindset, where it's, go to school, get a good job, or get an education, get a good job, and breaking out of that and helping people see that, kind of like the Matrix, giving them the pill where they can kind of, oh, I could do more. I feel like that for sure is the first step that I want to help somebody get to, where they believe in themselves enough to take that leap and continue to keep moving forward. And I remember one of my mentors told me when I was newer in business was, if you don't believe in yourself, allow me to believe in you first, believe in that belief, and then eventually, you'll develop your own belief. So I would say the first thing I really want to help people with is their mindset to growth. And then the second step is obviously a desired level of income. And that looks different for everybody. Some people are just looking for an extra few $100 a month to pay some bills and, have a little side hustle. Others are looking for more sustainable long-term income, like myself and my wife, that can sustain you, financial independence, financial freedom, where you can live off of that income, travel when you want, do what you want to do, have that lifestyle. So I feel like, again, most people in terms of the monetary, they have those, big aspirations of wanting to be massively successful, but they have to start with those initial, hey, can I make $500 a month? Can I make $1,000 a month first before I can believe, 4 5 6 figures per month? So that would be what I would say is mindset and, monetary, in terms of those two goals.
Absolutely love that. And I feel like that's exactly where you should be as a business coach. So if you didn't talk about money, I was going to be a little bit surprised. Um,
Yeah, absolutely.
so what is one piece of advice for those listening that you would share, that's something they can either do today to help them move forward, or, just something that you would tell people right now?
Yeah, I guess the main thing that I would say that I think really helped me is goal setting and speaking positive affirmations of the power of the spoken word.
Mm.
You know, it says in the Bible, you know, write your vision down on tablets and make it plain, so that you can go after your goals. And I feel like for me, writing down my goals, I think back to my career as a college football player where I set some records and then ultimately went on to play professionally. A lot of when I look back, I didn't realize I was doing it, but I did it like freshman, sophomore year of college. I wrote down, I figured out, hey, what is the record? I was a wide receiver. What is the receiving record? What is the, you know, what records could I break? Am I even in? Do I even have the ability to reach those goals? And when I saw that they were attainable, it allowed me to put a lot more action to it. And you know, in my business career, same exact thing. You know, when I started setting those goals initially, when I first got started, like I said, it was mainly about money. I wanted to get out of debt. You know, I had like $30,000, $40,000 of student loan debt. You know, I wanted to pay off my car, you know, some of those basic things. And once I started seeing the money come in, I feel like when I wrote down the goals, realized that they were attainable, that I could shoot for, and then when I started speaking positively and kind of reprogramming my brain, you know, kind of the whole mindset, that not only can I achieve them, but I can go beyond it and, you know, kind of drown out the negative, which we all have in our mind. I think those are the two most important things that have helped me, and I think would help anybody that's listening to this podcast is, you know, to write down their goals first so that you at least know what you're shooting after, and then two, speak them every day, because that belief will give you that will give you the belief to actually take action rather than, you know, procrastinating over and over and over again.
Absolutely love that. And yeah, I cannot talk about positive affirmations enough. So absolutely. So your
Yes.
goals that you mentioned, are these like SMART goals or they just have to be obtainable? Like, how do you define a good goal? Is it a SMART goal or is it some other thing that you've created?
Yeah, I think you as you mentioned, SMART is definitely the route that I typically go. The acronym, I think, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound, I think are
Hmm.
SMART. So yeah, that's basically exactly how I kind of write down my goals in that capacity. But even for somebody who's relatively new, who, you know, for somebody that's kind of on their journey, knows what they want to do, SMART is a really good framework for goals. But sometimes just the dreams that you have, you know, like again, initially when I first got started, it was just, you know, paying off my debt. You know, I realized later that was a SMART goal when I kind of put a date and a time to it. But initially it was just what is on my heart, was kind of the initial drive. And then kind of as you get further along in your business, SMART goals become very effective because then it's like, okay, how soon do you want to reach that goal? Because that's also another thing with most people is, okay, I want to make $10,000 a month, but okay, do you want to make that this year or in 5 years? You know, because that's a very different game plan. But yeah, I would say SMART, is definitely, if somebody's along their journey, is a great place kind of how to frame a goal so that you can actually move towards it and it's not too vague. Yeah.
Awesome. No, that's perfect. I was just making sure you didn't know some secret that I hadn't, been exposed to yet. So as long as I'm still good.
Yeah.
So you teed me right up. And so I do like to ask about your goals for, the next 5 years, both for your business and personally. I know you mentioned, getting to that full-time entrepreneur level. But is that your main goal in the next 5 years, or is there something else in there?
Yeah, I guess I would break down my goals into kind of two categories. I would say one of them being personal is kind of the financial freedom goal. So being able to replace my job income with my business income and having that flexibility, whether I'll completely walk away from my job or not. That's kind of to be determined. If I like it and can continue to do it, I'll just do both and just kind of scale my business continually. So I would say that's kind of an immediate goal next 1 to 2 years, in terms of personally. But then I would say kind of a, you know, goal in terms of an aspirational goal, kind of how many people I want to help. My initial goal, I would say for this year, would be to help 5 to 10 business owners or individuals start scaling their business and making an extra $1,000 a month. So I
Mm.
have on my website a plug-in profit guide, which kind of walks people through how they can start an AI-based business, right from right from their home without having to quit their jobs, and be able to scale it part-time. So that's my kind of aspirational goal of wanting to help 5 to 10 people make an extra $1,000 a month. So personally, financial freedom, but then, outwardly wanting to help other people create some extra income.
Absolutely love that. It's powerful, in the way that you say it and that you do want to help other people, but it's also, I don't know, I just love it. Love everything about it. And so these people who are like, "Ooh, you just got my attention. Like, I would love to make an extra $1,000 a month." How do they actually get in touch with you? How do they find you?
Yeah. So what I would recommend is, I guess in the show notes, I'll give you the link to the plug and profit guide. That'll be it's about a 1 to 2 page document which basically walks you through how to get started from scratch to start an AI based business in today's day and age. You can also follow me on social media, John Prather _1, or I have my website, johnprather1.com. So I'm sure all of those will be in the show notes below. But yeah, if you're interested, you want to kind of be one of those 5 to 10 people making an extra thousand a month, definitely the plug and profit guide I think will be a good place to start for those individuals.
Perfect. And you are correct. They will absolutely be in the show notes. So I want to thank you so much for being here today. I have truly enjoyed our time together. And yeah, so for everyone out there, if you're in the middle and if you don't know if you're behind or whether you're becoming, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. That's what thriving looks like. Thank you guys so much for joining in today. Bye, y'all.